This is the 20 Minutes of Influence podcast with your host, Greg Jameson. Influencer marketing is the process of identifying, researching, engaging, and supporting the people who create high-impact conversations with your customers. On each episode, I talk with industry leaders, business rock stars, and internet celebrities who contribute their knowledge about influencing others and growing your influence. Welcome to the 20 Minutes of Influence. I am your host, Greg Jameson, and I have a guest with me today. Her name is Susan Ibitz. Susan and I have just met, and I am actually really excited to have her on here because she has this tagline, as you will, about did you ever hear or ever meet a human behavior hacker? Some people hack computers. Susan hacks humans. So I am excited to learn how to hack a human. I've done lots of computer hacking in my time myself, but I don't know that I have at least purposely hacked a human. So this is going to be a fun conversation. And welcome, Susan. I'm really happy to have you on the show here today. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit more about yourself and your background?
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for having me on the show. And that tagline always gets me. Have you ever met a human behavior hacker? And people like, what? What is that? So yeah, I'm a human behavior hacker. Some people hack computers, I hack humans. And basically what I do is I'm a profiler, but other people know as a profiler. Some people work for three agency letters. I haven't, but I have been trained by them. And what I do is I take complex studies and complex behaviors, tendencies and skills, whatever you want to call it, and get it down to companies and help them to use behavior to sell more, to train managers, and to help them to better understand people. Today, we have different tendencies. Actually, selling has changed so much in the last 5 years. The people is lost. And I always says, I cannot sell, even my life depend on it, but I can train your sales team and how to understand your customers. Usually the round of knowing from the customer talk to you and get an approach to you, get almost 90 days to understand your customer, know and create a report. Well, what about if you can do that in 90 seconds, knowing how the face is telling you how they intake information, process information, how they want to receive that information, that is face reading, statement analysis, forensic analysis, micro expression, body language, and personality types. So first of all, I help people to understand themselves, to know either introvert, extrovert, sensing, intuitive, and that way you know how to, are your boundaries to communicate with others. If you're an introvert and you're in front of an extrovert, you need to do a switch. You need to adapt to your customers and to the managers. Instead, to have everybody understanding how he or she is, the manager needs to understand their people to help them to maximize. If you having a person who have certain kind of even conflict or problems or dealing with specific things when they're dealing with specific customers, you need to move that person to another place. And if you have a customer who have the similar tendencies, you can put that sales rep or that manager in contact with that person, and they're going to like each other, because trust and respect coming from finding things alike to other people. So basically, I help people to understand themselves and others.
And that seems like an incredible skill that every business person really ought to have, the ability to kind of read their customers and know where they're coming from and whatnot. How do you actually do this? I mean, if you were to ask me how to hack a computer, I'm not a professional computer hacker, but I've written enough code that I could say, hey, you know, the first thing that we have to do is we have to get into the underlying structure or whatever. How do you do it with a human?
First of all, if I need to profile someone, if somebody send me a picture or an email of a client and they want to know how to approach, the first thing is I read their faces. Our ears is how we intake information, is our antenna. Big ears, you need more consistency and data, is people who are going to tend to look down. because they want to listen everything that you says. And today we still have brick and mortar companies, and we have online customers, but you can determine how the personality is based on an email. But suppose that you and I, we met in a brick and mortar company. So if I know how you intake information, how you process information based on the shape and type of eyebrows you have, and the proximity you have, and the height of the ears, I need to know that 4 things. So I know how you intake information, how fast you need that information to be taken, if you're gonna get audit overload or you're gonna have image overload, how you process information. If for you it's important to have a story about the product or the company, to have facts and data, or you wanna know what are the studies showing this product is better than the other product. When I know that and I give you the information, I can start seeing how your body reacts. If you lean into me, you lean back, your feet are away from me, your hands are fading to me. If you cross the arms on the point of call of action, it's no bad. Actually, we tend to cross the arms when we want to relax or we want to make a decision. Now, if you only see the arms crossing, but still looking at you, my body's facing you, and my feet are facing you, that is the best who can happen to you in a sales. Why? Because I'm thinking. The only time the 2 parts of my brains are working together is when I'm crossing my arms. I use in between 30 and 40% more of my emotional brain and my rational brain to make decisions. Now, if you see a customer closing their arms and suddenly the body pull away and they have any micro expression, that the reason is good to know how to learn the face. Now, and when the person is using the same amount of cognitive things to says, what are you trying to sell me? What I don't trust you, or what is going on with this? So micro expressions are not a way to find out if somebody's lying. It's only to have a GPS and what are the emotions that happen. So, and on top of that, you put the words. If I, for example, Greg, ask you, do you like the product? Yes. But if I don't say anything and you ask me, what do you want for lunch? And I do this, what is my body telling you? I don't know. So if somebody says, you like the product? Yeah. First of all, yeah, I was in doubt. I show my shoulders. So the way you come back is like, it's any other thing that maybe we haven't covered during the explanation. Is any specific things that you want to be doing with this product, tangible or intangible? You talk about hacking computers. I'm clueless about software. So every time that I want to have a software, the first thing that I do is I need to get on a demo. I'm a visual person and I need to see to understand. So I ask all these questions and people like, okay, do you have any more questions? We have been in this for 2 hours. I need my time to process and understand what's going on. So even though in the old-fashioned way, or the way it's gonna at some point come back that where we are in person, when a meeting like that, I can read you. If I can see your hands and I can see your torso, I still can read you. I cannot see your feet, but I can have a couple of ideas if you switching. And most important is reading yourself. If I'm talking to you and says, oh, I have a big idea and 3 points and I want to mark in the product. But I says, I have a big idea. There are 3 points and I want to mark in this product. It's the best on the market. It's going to help you. And we have finances. So it's not only reading the other people, it's using your hands to quantify. I need to use visual aids and my hands are the best way to use my visual aids. If I says, I don't agree with that, and says, I don't agree with that, it's different. What it changes my hand. So even online or in person, you need to know how to read your people. And salespeople is really good naturally. The point is they don't know what they're reading. So imagine if, like everybody says, you are born with the idea and the desire to be a doctor, but in order to get there, it takes you a lot of learning. So you have the desire, you have intrinsically how to read people. What we do is take you to the next level that you understand what is going on with you and going on with other people.
Yeah, it seems like when you're face to face with somebody, or even doing like what we're doing right here, where we can see each other, that these visual clues really help you to determine what the person's interest level is. You know, are they paying attention, or do they really not care? Any of those kinds of things. But when you've got an online business and you're not able to see those visual clues, is there still any way to kind of read what your customer's thinking?
First of all, is the colors you use. For example, our company is Human Behavior Lab. You can see the H on the orange on the back, and we're in orange. And so it's a color coding fixation. So how you design your website, the colors, the music you use, and the audio. So when you do it online, first is the content, second is the audio and the background you use. When somebody sends you an email, and I'm going to give you an example. Hey, Greg, I want to inquire about the product you're selling. Can you tell me a little more about it? Okay, so if somebody sign the email says, I see you later, or I call you later, is different. I see you later, the person is visual. I call you later, even though if you don't have a call of action, it can determine you how the person is. If somebody says, I feel this product maybe is not for us, meaning feel is a kinetic person. That person needs to feel the taste of the product. For us, meaning there is not the only person making the decision, maybe it's a family decision. So you need to go back and like maybe do online limitations. I can give you the feel, the complete feel of the product that you all of you need. So what I did is I mirrored the word you use. I use the word feeling and I use the word us. Instead to says us, you and I, all of you, meaning that I have all of you in consideration. So when somebody write an email, most human beings tend to not pay attention to the words. That study done from Meridian in 69-71, about 93% of our communication is only body language, has been proven only one study. This hasn't been replicated. And today world doesn't met the needs anymore for salespeople or communication, because as you correctly says, most of the things happen online. We're jumping in this burnout of Zoom meetings, but most people is still calling on the phone or sending emails. So if I says they made the decisions, is they, it's not we or I made a decision, meaning the person who is writing to you is either not part of the decision board or is not agreeing with the decision. And decision is a thought. If I said to you, Greg, I decide on December 31, I'm gonna stop eating bananas. Did I stop eating bananas?
No, you decided.
Great, you got it. Decision is a thought. If I says, I stop eating bananas on December 31, meaning I did it. So when somebody says, we decide to go for another options, you need to come back and what other options you decide to go for, because maybe we can fulfill some of the other option you want to go. Since you asked me for product A, I haven't talked from B to C, what other option we have, what grade this product have. So you always need to look between lines. When somebody says, I'm going to put an example that happened a lot to my friends. I'm the matchmaker of my friends, not because I do that professionally, it's because they ask me and says, oh, I asked if we're going to have another day, and says, yeah, let me look my calendar. Don't even bother and text, is not going to happen. Like, yeah, I saw the shoulders and look at my calendar. You need to look at in your calendar if you want to see me. Instead, like, yes, let's put something together or let's text. It's not going to happen. So we need to learn to pay attention to the words, because even I can determine certain stereotypes and things about people when they write an anonymous letter. And why? That's how the Una bomber was caught, through the manifesto. Certain words, certain characteristics determine what is the personality. So whoever fighting that words are not important, that we cannot read between lines, well, let me tell you, one of the worst serial killers in our era, who was tried to be caught by the FBI for 17 years, was caught thank you to Robert Scheid. 19 years took the 19 years took the FBI. He did the job in 9 months. And he found out where he was born, what is the education, the age. The only thing that he was off, he was under the impression he was an African American and not a white person. So that's what the only thing that he was kind of off. But even though he was 95% accurate about what the person, the person was, and that's how he got caught. So that show you that you saying in your words more than you can imagine.
Yeah, this is actually really fascinating. And we need to take a quick break, but on the other side of the break, I want to follow up with that and see how we as business people and therefore as salespeople can actually learn some of these techniques and apply it to helping us sell our products.
Let's do it.
All right. So we'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Greg Jameson, the host of the 20 Minutes of Influence podcast. Every week, I not only have the opportunity, but the real privilege of interviewing experts in their field, true thought leaders, and I get to share this information with you. The purpose of this is really to help you sell more of your products and services online, which is the core premise of my primary business, Web Stores Limited. At Web Stores, we go out and we create e-commerce websites for small businesses. Plus, we do internet marketing and digital advertising for those businesses to really help them sell more online. We have a whole number of resources and tools designed to help make this process easier for businesses, probably much like yours. I've been the author of several #1 best-selling books, including Amazon's Dirty Little Secrets and The Influencer Effect, plus a whole series of online courses if you want to learn how to do this stuff yourself. The best way to remain in contact with me, besides subscribing to this podcast, of course, is to simply go to gregjameson.com/free gift, where I have a special offer for you simply because you are a valued listener to this podcast. Thanks again, and now let's get back to today's episode. Welcome back to the 20 Minutes of Influence podcast. With me today is Susan Ibitz, and right before the break, Susan and I were talking about all these different ways that you can kind of read people and determine what they're thinking and what their actions are going to be and so forth. And as a business owner, and therefore as a salesperson trying to sell somebody my products and services, I'm really curious as to how long it takes you, or what you need to do, I guess, to really start to acquire these skills of being able to hack a human being and know what they're thinking and how we can use that to our advantage to bring people in and sell them our products and services.
Well, there's a study done in 2011, and because it was published 2 days before my birthday, and says it was my best birthday gift ever. Dr. David Matsumoto from California, he was doing a study for a long time, and he found out the kids, there are people that is born blind, and the ones who haven't been born blind, they have the same micro expression and body language when they're lost, when they feel pain, when they're being happy. So that concept that we are mimicking and learning what we do from our parents is not true. Actually, one of my first articles in Forbes magazine was like, people don't lie to you, you don't do the right questions, and the only thing you learn from your parents is to lie. All the other behaviors are embedded on you already. It's like playing the piano. What I mean with this, if somebody who has been born blind, they have the same expression and the body expresses the same way, that's meaning there is coded. What we do, people like me, is to helping you to go that Pandora box that you have been closing for so long. So sometimes it's not that, this is not complicated. It's complex sometimes to break the nose to start learning new things. Because as a human beings, we tend to have resistance. Some people is like, oh, I need all the studies proven that it's working. Other people is like, are you gonna give me more numbers? Let's go for it. So depend a lot of what is your outcome. But what I have is results. When people says, can you prove me this work? Like, I can prove you result. Give me one of your guys that's not working. Let me work with them, with that person for 1 week, and let me know what is happening after that. So first of all is to be open that things change. The same way some people says 20 years ago, oh, nobody going to have a computer in their house. Now, how many gadgets we have connected? Remember Maxwell Smart when the series on the 60s, they were talking to their phones, to their watches.
Took their
Or
shoes
in a
off.
Star Trek, they have the tablet, and the tablet can help you. And they have something that can scan your body. Well, one is called Apple Watch. The other one is called the tablet, and the second one is called fMRI or MRI. So all the things that we think there is not going to happen, they're here. So the people who made it through, the people who advance, are the ones who are open and like there are other way to do things. So first of all is to be open, thinking outside the box, and understanding that whatever you can acquire to do your job better, why not to? What you have to lose? This is like a toolbox, and you have a hammer in your toolbox. How many times you use it? That when you need that hammer, you know that you have it in your toolbox. So you're safe knowing that you have those tools. So first of all is when I get up, let's suppose that you call me to train your sales team. The first thing is I do an assessment. Assessment is a way to determine certain patterns in the way you think, because it's important to understand that people is not trying to drive you crazy. Their brain and their attitudes are different than other people. So that's the reason it's called assessment and not a test. It's not telling you how you are, is what are your preferences. So preference like intuitive, thinking, and judging, and emotional. And emotional judging has nothing to do if you judge other, is how you judge things. And emotional is you put more your right brain than your left brain. When you know how you are, I can make people to talk to each other in a team and like, okay, I'm more emotional, more judging, and more left brain or right brain. Okay, we're going to work together if we pair because we're complementary and we can help each other. After that is to start teaching people how to read their own faces. So what your face is telling you. And again, ear size, height, eyebrows, and proxemic, and sometimes forehead, depending how your forehead is, how you're thinking. So another thing that we're doing a lot is we are teaching security guards and people who work in security how to read faces with masks. You can read the 7 micro expressions, and you can read the more important part of your face even wearing a mask, because the most important part of your body, your face, is happen up of the nose. All the thinking patterns and communication patterns are here, and most of the micro expression happen on the eyebrows. So even though I can teach, I have been teaching people and how to read faces and read emotions with masks. So when you know how to communicate with the person, the 5 basic face reading things, I teach you the micro expressions. I teach you what they mean and what to do with them. Because most people say, oh, that is the dislike or contempt. Okay, great. What I do with that now? So when you read that expression, that's what it means. That is the context you need to take it, and that is the position of what you need to do to modify that. And we use a lot of behavior and studies showing what happened with emotions, what happened with the brain, what hormones are activated every time there's something happens. For example, we're trigger dopamine on the brain. Dopamine on the brain is what makes the brain being alert all the time. So I always says one of the reasons people call me and keynote speakings is because I'm weird. I do something weird and I keep the dopamine on the people all the time. So usually they put me before somebody who's going to be kind of boring. So I get the stage up and I like, okay, I gotta take that. For example, another thing, shaking hands. More than half of the people says when you're shaking hands, it's when you decide if you're going to like someone. We're not able to shake hands. Besides that we are in different state. Even if we meet in person, we wouldn't be able to do it now. So how we get that feeling? Do you know that a handshake is equal to 3 hours of human interaction? Well, after a couple of weeks of research, thank you to an amazing team that we have, we found out the same hormone happening when you're shaking hands and you have human interaction is oxytocin. And the only way oxytocin happens is when I'm smiling to you. And you know what? Smiling is more contagious than the flu. If somebody sneezes with the flu in a subway, 30% of the people is gonna get contagious. If you're laughing hysterically inside the subway, 95% of the people is gonna copy. Actually, we're launching this week a study that about laughing to see how many people laugh and how many people react, and a study already done. Coca-Cola has done the studies, a lot of advertising agencies has studies, because when you're laughing, whatever coming after I make you smile, you're gonna be more propense to buy. So if I relate oxytocin, endorphins, and dopamine to be with you, I'm gonna be back. And when I'm gonna be back, I'm gonna buy whatever you're selling. So it's a little nerdy side, but what we do is like put it in a simple way. It says, okay, guys, what do you think about this video? And we put a video who make everybody smile and laugh hysterically. And when everybody's laughing, I stop the video and says, how do you feel before and after the video? Oh my God, I feel so relaxed. Oh my God, I almost pee myself. I need to take a break. Oh my God, that was hilarious. Like, wow, imagine that in your customer. I don't think you need to be a clown. You don't need to be Robin Williams. What I'm saying is, it's so simple, like make it smile. Even though it's you're really, really mad and somebody make you smile, have you ever break a bad argument when you start smiling and you make a stupid joke and the other person starts smiling and suddenly everything relaxed? Well, it's the same with customers. And the times that we're going today make somebody feel comfortable. Not always is only a smile, it's to make them feel comfortable, make them feel understanding. Greg, do you know what is the worst things that you can do to a human being? The things that hurt a human being the most?
Call them by the wrong name.
No, that's what I do. I have two specialties: forgetting your name and ruin first impressions. Be ignored. If I ignoring you, you don't exist. People want to be seen. And when you're talking to your customer and your customers keep saying, I want a minivan, and you keep trying to sell a sport car, what you're doing is ignoring your customer needs. You don't see them. They don't being seen. If you don't see me, how am I going to trust you? So when you're talking to me with the dictionary and the language that I use has nothing to do if it's English or no, has to do with your culture. If I'm talking to somebody from New York, I'm going to be talking more pace. I'm talking with somebody from Colorado, I'm trying to lower my pace so your audience can understand besides and I have a high accent. But I see you. So when your customer feels seen, feel understood, and even help between what they think they want and they what really need, that's when it's a successful sales. Why? Because it's not how many ads you're going to put, because all these big brands, they put a lot of ads on the Super Bowl and they're funny. But if you have a friend who says like, you know what, I tried this soda and it's horrible. Doesn't matter how many advertising you put, people is not going to drink it. So if a month after you sell me something, you are willing to call your customer and says, how are you feeling? How is suiting you the product that I sell? And like, oh my God, I love it. I told all my friends. Do you know that our business has grown so much mouth to mouth that we never had the need to put any advertisement? Because I do that 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months after I have a training. And says, how is your team doing? What is the overall? And one of the last customers that I called, he says, you came to do a training in January, even though the things have changed so much. My clients, my team cells have more clients, more closing, more commission, and I'm making more money. Why? Because now we can profile what the customer wants and needs, given to them on the dictionary they need and how they need it. So that means that you saw the other person. If I see you, and I'm gonna trust you, and I'm gonna come back to you. And the best advertisement, and Seth Godin said all the time, it doesn't matter how much, it's not about your brand. You see the Hilton Hotel is how comfortable all the beds. It's gonna be all the Hiltons are all the same. It's how you make feel people during the process. And MIT lab has proved that people is not gonna remember what you says, it's not gonna remember how you look. They're gonna remember how you make them feel. And Maya Angelou says the same. Well, MIT lab find out it's true. people and want to make them feel good. So smiling, making the brain engage, being a little weird, being a little playful and funny. Because you're wearing a suit doesn't mean that I'm wearing a suit. You see, I look like a serious person, but I'm not. I laugh with you, know about you. I will not going to criticize you. We're going to work together to get you better. But I will not going to be your teacher. I'm going to be your partner in the process. That is a different, completely aspect. I'm not going to point you on the feet and the finger and says, how many things they taught you wrong? Let me help you to redo that process to get you to the point that you deserve to be. It's a completely different approach.
Yeah, fascinating information. As we're running out of time here, is there any kind of final thoughts that you want to leave our listeners with, as well as maybe how people can stay in touch with you?
First of all, one of the myths that I find a lot to reverse is do not mirror body language or facial expressions if you don't know what you're doing. This is a smile. This is contempt. So if you confuse smile con contempt is I feel bored by you and I feel superior than you. If you mirror that, remember that I told you we are precambric brain? I'm going to feel the same and I'm going to pull out. So when everybody says mirror everyone, be careful what you're mirroring. It's easy to mirror someone verbally. If you ask me, what do you have for breakfast? And I reply, for breakfast I have, or I have an apple for breakfast. I'm mirroring your words. It's less possible than I mistake it. It's a science behind that. And most sales coaches, they don't train that because you need to know how to. You can ask me whatever question, and I ask sometime audience, like, I want 20 questions, 20 really, really difficult questions, and I mirror all of them. And that's when like, wow, we didn't know that. So be careful what is being taught and who you're learning from. We don't say you need to come with us. Just be careful what you're learning, because what you think is saving yourselves and your team is killing it. And if you want to learn more about us, my name is Susan Ibitz. You can Google me. You can go to humanbehaviorallab.com. That is our consulting company. And our e-learning platform is the only e-learning platform where you can find human behavior and these kind of things. It's humanbehaviorhackerschool.com, and more than welcome to answer any questions that you can have.
That's awesome. I'll make sure those links are in the show notes as well. And I just really want to thank you, Susan, for sharing all that information with us today.
Thank you, Greg, for contacting me and for this interview. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for listening to today's episode of 20 Minutes of Influence. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please leave a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you are interested in booking myself as a speaker at one of your events or are interested in any of my coaching programs, please visit gregjameson.com.